While I was on break, Ben had recommended a YouTube channel to me a long time ago, and I didn't have time to fully sink my teeth in. Have you heard of Colin and Samir before?
I had not until you sent me the link from them.
Ben, how would you describe Colin and Samir?
They basically kind of coined the term creator economy, I think. Maybe it was someone else, but I definitely feel like they use it a lot. And so they kind of talk about like the creator economy and the goings on there and strategies and tactics and that whole thing.
And it's kind of meta, right? They're creators, but they're covering the business and go-to-market strategies and content production strategies of people who are also creators. And so I went down this deep rabbit hole of watching all their top videos, and they end up interviewing a lot of people like the Mr. Beasts of the world, the Dude Perfects of the world, anybody that you've probably seen online that's like a big creator they've spoken to and dug into like their business model. And it made me reflect on what we talk about on this podcast and how we monetize our own businesses, but like the lessons that companies who may not even be creators can learn from this.
You sent me a drawing of your business model that might be a cry for help or a ransom note that you made on Atlantis, Bahamas stationery. This could be worth something someday.
It could be either we frame it or like that's the last evidence before they put me in the mental hospital. Kyle, let me ask you something so you don't think I am a complete lunatic. Have you ever seen this drawing before?
I had not seen it. Some of the characters look familiar. Who's the dog in the upper right?
That's Pluto, clearly. Welcome back to the podcast where we describe visuals through audio format. This is a drawing that Walt Disney did in 1957. Ben, you've absolutely seen this, right?
Oh, yeah. No, this is like film school, like OG for sure.
And so what it is he has content at the center of it. It says creative talent of studio and theatrical films. And he called this the total merchandising concept. Other people have called it the total Disney strategy doc. They've called it the pillars of a creator ecosystem. It goes by many names, but basically what he mapped out are all these lines that go between the pillars and offshoots of the content. So you have the movies and content in the middle, and then you have music, you have TV, you have merchandising and licensing, you have comic strips, you have Walt Disney World, and then you have the publications like books, etc.
When was this made?
This was in 1957. This is something that Disney famously, they said he drew it on the back of a napkin. I don't think you could find a napkin large enough for this, but the saying goes that he drew this all out by hand.
What was Disney like in 1957?
They had a couple of hit movies, and he created the main characters of Mickey Mouse, Minnie Mouse, Pluto, Goofy, and I think Cinderella maybe had come out by then.
I think he was even doing the voice of Mickey Mouse at that point, right?
He was doing the voice of Mickey Mouse back then, but he had a much larger vision for where this content could take the rest of the Disney empire. What he thought was there was an opportunity to cross-sell and cross-promote using the core creative content to have pillars for music, for TVs, for merchandising and licensing. Like if you've ever bought a Star Wars character or like a bobblehead or something like that, to have the theme parks, to have comic strips and all sorts of publications. But at the center of this is the core content.
If you have really great core content that can be leveraged in different ways that create a stronger connection with the audience, and then that also feed back and make the content stronger. So if people really like a character and they can go meet the character in person at Disneyland, they're going to then watch the next movie that features the character. And so that kind of lets you unlock another movie. And then that gets more people to the park. Each of these pieces, instead of being a distraction, it makes the whole ecosystem actually more powerful.
It's a reinforcing flywheel, and there are definitely network effects to it. And what he saw then, I think, still has so many analogs to the creator economy now and other businesses that try to cross-promote products that are a combination of digital and in-person and tech products and service products. What he was able to see is that you can capture more wallet share by having this one core thing, but then having other offshoots that are strengthened by bringing it all together.
All right, so Disney did this a while ago. What's a 21st century example of this?
I don't know if this is your speed, Kyle, but have you ever heard of Dude Perfect before?
I had not until you sent me their video.
So people may remember them, at least if you're my age, as these guys who used to do these really intricate trick shots in college. I think a bunch of them went to Texas A&M. So to give you an example, they would go to the top of a stadium, they'd put a basketball hoop at the bottom, and they would try like a million shots to try to get it in. And then they would have this montage of all these cool trick shots that they were able to nail.
A very modern example, kind of like an athletic-y Mr. Beast, it sounds like. Not really my cup of tea. I'm more of in the Kara Swisher content universe myself. They discovered people really liked watching videos of them doing trick shots in basketball. Where did they go from there?
So that's where it started, and the content was at the center. They got billions of views on YouTube. They carved out a niche of what I would characterize as probably like males from age 8 to maybe 18. They have like a really strong core thesis around like making their content approachable for families too, so it's easy to share within your family. It's age appropriate. But they've expanded this to a business that's probably worth $1 billion. They have raised over $100 million in capital so far. So they were able to take these billions of views and commercialize it in a way that wasn't just advertising dollars through YouTube. So they've expanded it to 3 pillars that they call stadium, show, and shelf. So stadium, think about that as they literally will pack stadiums full of like these adolescent boys who want to see like cool trick shots, similar to almost like an X Games atmosphere. Then they have the show itself on YouTube, and then they have shelf content, which is like a Nerf gun or like a bobblehead or some sort of figurine or toy that someone would buy.
And it seems like they're even, extending from here, right? I've seen talks of like having a theme park-esque like vision for Disney World of Dude Perfect.
That's exactly what they're doing next. They actually went out and hired a professional CEO who was in charge of a lot of stuff at the NBA. So they're trying to extend this whole entertainment thing into a business that you can experience yourself and also stuff that you can touch. So they're going to get into Dude Perfect Productions, which could be sports documentaries, kind of like an ESPN 30 for 30 series. They're going to do this Dude Perfect app, which will have games on it. And then they're also going to do like an Xbox or PlayStation game.
Presumably, this also, kind of like with Walt Disney, it means that the original guys who they had this secret sauce, they can scale the business beyond just themselves. So they don't need to create every show, star and everything, but they kind of have this formula that they know their audience likes, and that can, become a hopefully $1 billion business for them.
And so they have the main channel, and like you said, what they want to do is have offshoots of this. So one of the guys is really into hunting and outdoorsmanship, whatever you would call that. So he wants to hire somebody to be the face of that. They also want to do something for golf. They want to do something for fitness. They also want to do something for females, so it's not just male dominated. They think that you can recreate this flywheel for each of those offshoots in a way that is still authentic without having to make these guys like me and you, like, how many newsletters can one person produce? How many YouTube videos can one person produce? But emulate this flywheel for other people within the ecosystem with different themes. Ali and the team at Tabs are building something that directly addresses one of the biggest headaches I see finance teams deal with today. Pulling data from your ERP, your CRM, your FP&A tools, and your usage systems and actually making it all work together. If you're running usage-based pricing or complex contracts, you already know how this usually plays out. Contracts live in one system, usage data lives somewhere else, billing happens in another tool. RevRec gets layered on top at month end, and finance ends up just reconciling everything by hand to close the books. This is exactly the problem Tabs was built to solve. Tabs is an AI-native revenue platform built for controllers and CFOs. It brings together data from your ERP, CRM, and real product usage into a single system of record. From there, it automates billing, collections, and revenue recognition without finance having to duct tape workflows together every month. If usage-based revenue is core to your business, this is the future of how billing and RevRec get done. Go check them out at tabs.com/run. That's tabs.com/run.